God is dead. Or so it must have seemed to the ancestors of the Jews in 586 BC. Jerusalem and the temple to their God are in flames. The nation of Israel, founded by King David, is wiped out.
It would have seemed to have been the end, but it was rather the beginning.
For out of the crucible of destruction emerges a sacred book, the Bible, and an idea that will change the world, the belief in one God.
This is a new idea. It was an idea that nobody had ever had before.
Monotheism is well ensconced, so something major happened, which is very hard to trace.
Now, a provocative new story from discoveries deep within the earth and the Bible.
We wanted to examine the possibility that the remains of King David's palace are here.
We can actually see vivid evidence here of a destruction.
Question number one, who did it?
An archaeological detective story puzzles together clues to the mystery of who wrote the Bible, when, and why.
And it was very clear it was some kind of a tiny scroll.
I immediately saw very clear, very distinct letters.
This is the ancestor of the Hebrew script.
And from out of the earth emerge thousands of idols that suggest God had a wife.
We just found this exceptional clay figurine showing a fertility goddess.
Powerful evidence sheds new light on how one people, alone among ancient cultures, finally turned their back on idol worship to find their one God.
This makes the God of ancient Israel the universal God of the world that resonates with people, at least in Jewish, Christian, and Muslim tradition to this very day.
Now, science and scripture converge to create a powerful new story of an ancient people, God, and the Bible. Up next on Nova, the Bible's buried secrets.
Major funding for Nova is provided by the following.
One of the biggest challenges for geoscientists is trying to find the oil and gas that's hidden below the surface of the Earth. Lately, our researchers have developed a new technology called R3M. You can't see it and you can't feel it, but the Earth has electromagnetic waves. And if you build the right kinds of listening devices, you can make sense of those waves. So using those tools, we can supply more of the energy that we need with less of an impact on the environment.
And David H. Koch. And
Discovering New Knowledge. HHMI.
Major funding for the Bible's buried secrets is provided by the Arthur Vining Davis Foundations, the Richard and Rhoda Goldman Fund, and the Righteous Persons Foundation. Additional funding for this program is provided by the Skirball Foundation and by the Solo Art and Architecture Foundation. Major funding for Nova is also provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by PBS viewers like you. Thank you.
Near the banks of the Nile in southern Egypt in 1896, British archaeologist Flinders Petrie leads an excavation in Thebes, the ancient city of the dead. Here he unearths one of the most important discoveries in biblical archaeology. From beneath the sand appears the corner of a royal monument, carved in stone. Dedicated in honor of Pharaoh Merneptah, son of Ramses the Great, it became known as the Merneptah Stela. Today, it is in the Cairo Museum.
This stela is what the Egyptians would have called a triumph stela, a victory stela, commemorating victory over foreign peoples.
Most of the hieroglyphic inscription celebrates Merneptah's triumph over Libya, his enemy to the west. But almost as an afterthought, he mentions his conquest of people to the east in just 2 lines.
The text reads, Ashkelon has been brought captive, Gezer has been taken captive, Yanoam in the North Jordan Valley has been seized, Israel has been shorn, its seed no longer exists.
History proves the pharaoh's confident boast to be wrong. Rather than marking their annihilation, Merneptah's stela announces the entrance onto the world stage of a people named Israel.
This is priceless evidence for the presence of an ethnical group called Israel in the central highlands of southern Canaan.
The well-established Egyptian chronology gives the date as 1208 BC. Merneptah's stela is powerful evidence that a people called the Israelites are living in Canaan, in what today includes Israel and Palestine, over 3,000 years ago. The ancient Israelites are best known through familiar stories that chronicle their history. Abraham and Isaac, Moses and the 10 Commandments, David and Goliath, it is the ancient Israelites who write the Bible. Through writing the Hebrew Bible, the beliefs of the ancient Israelites survived to become Judaism, one of the world's oldest continuously practiced religions. And it is the Jews who give the world an astounding legacy: the belief in one God. This belief will become the foundation of 2 other great monotheistic religions: Christianity and Islam. Often called the Old Testament to distinguish it from the New Testament, which describes the events of early Christianity, today the Hebrew Bible and a belief in one God are woven into the very fabric of world culture. But in ancient times, all people, from the Egyptians to the Greeks to the Babylonians, worshiped many gods, usually in the form of idols. How did the Israelites, alone among ancient peoples, discover the concept of one God?